Welcome to Top Thangs. Today we dive deep into a covert plan conceived at the heights of US defense strategy, aimed at fabricating a pretext for war against Cuba. From falsified terrorist attacks to the proposed sacrifice of American lives, discover how close we came to a conflict born of deception and the decision that prevented its realization. In the heart of the Cold War, a plot so audacious, so shocking, unfurled within the clandestine corridors of the US Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It bore the name Operation Northwoods. In the early 60s, as Cold War tensions simmered just beneath the surface of global politics, the United States and Cuba were locked in a tense standoff. Fidel Castro's communist regime, a mere 90 miles off the Florida coast, was seen as a clear and present danger. In response, the US government began to hatch a plan so outlandish it's hard to believe it was ever given serious consideration. Operation Northwoods, as it was codenamed, was a proposal for a false flag operation. The idea was to create a series of tragic events, which would appear to be Cuban aggression against the United States and its citizens. These events, ranging from the sinking of a US ship to staged terrorist attacks on US soil, were designed to sway public opinion and justify military intervention in Cuba. The plan, approved by the Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the spring of 1962, was then presented to the Secretary of Defense, Robert McNamara. However, it never reached the desk of President John F. Kennedy, who had previously expressed his reluctance to engage in direct military action against Cuba. But Operation Northwoods didn't stop at just proposing these acts. It went into disturbing detail about how they could be executed. It suggested painting aircraft to look like Cuban MiGs, using unmanned drones to simulate air attacks, and even orchestrating a Remember the Main incident by blowing up a US ship in Cuban waters. The revelation of Operation Northwoods did not come until the late 90s, when declassified documents were released as part of the John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992. The public's reaction was, predictably, one of shock and disbelief. How could such a plan be concocted by those entrusted to protect and serve? Operation Northwoods remains one of the most controversial and shocking examples of how far governments might go in the name of national security. It's a dark chapter in our history, a cautionary tale of what can happen when the ends are seen to justify the means. Conspiracy theories. Operation Northwoods has been the subject of various conspiracy theories, largely because its discovery shed light on the lengths to which the US government was willing to go during the Cold War to achieve its objectives against perceived adversaries. The fact that such a plan was even proposed has fueled speculation and theories beyond the actual historical record. Here are some of the conspiracy theories and discussions that have emerged around Operation Northwoods. False flag operations precedent. The existence of Operation Northwoods has been cited by conspiracy theorists as evidence that the US government has considered or could enact false flag operations, covert actions designed to deceive by making it appear that they were carried out by other entities. This theory suggests that if the government was willing to plan such operations against Cuba, it might do so in other contexts, potentially implicating the US in other unacknowledged or mysterious events, domestically and internationally. 9/11's conspiracy theories. Some conspiracy theorists have drawn parallels between Operation Northwoods and the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, suggesting without evidence that the US government had the motive and means to carry out such attacks as a pretext for military action, and to justify the invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq. These claims have been widely debunked by extensive investigations and reports, which found no evidence of US government complicity in the attacks. JFK assassination theories. The rejection of Operation Northwoods by President Kennedy has been linked by some conspiracy theorists to motives for his assassination, suggesting that elements within the US military or intelligence communities may have viewed him as an obstacle to their anti-communist agendas. However, there is no credible evidence supporting this theory, and the assassination has been the subject of extensive investigation, most notably by the Warren Commission, which found Lee Harvey Oswald to be the lone assassin. Influence on US foreign policy. Another theory suggests that the mere existence of Operation Northwoods indicates a broader willingness to engage in unethical or illegal covert operations to influence US foreign policy. This theory often points to other controversial operations during the Cold War, such as those in Iran, Chile, and other nations, as part of a pattern of behavior that includes disinformation, political manipulation, and support for coups against unfriendly governments. Media manipulation and public perception. Some theorists argue that Operation Northwoods exemplifies how the government could manipulate the media and public perception to support its foreign policy objectives. They claim that similar strategies might be employed to shape public opinion and media coverage in support of contemporary military or political objectives. It's important to approach these conspiracy theories critically. While Operation Northwoods is a documented plan that was considered and ultimately rejected, many of the theories that invoke it as evidence of broader conspiracies lack substantial evidence and often rely on speculation or misinterpretation of facts. Rigorous historical analysis and critical thinking are essential when evaluating claims and theories related to complex events and policies. Synopsis. Operation Northwoods was a covert plan proposed by the United States Department of Defense, DoD, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, JCS, in 1962. The plan outlined a series of proposed actions aimed at creating a pretext for military intervention in Cuba. These actions included the staging of false flag operations, such as simulated or real acts of terrorism and sabotage in the United States, against US military installations or against Cuban exiles, which would be falsely attributed to the Cuban government. The proposals range from the fabrication of incidents demonstrating Cuban aggression to the possible sinking of a US ship in the Guantanamo Bay, the staging of Cuban aircraft attacks on US civilian airliners, and even the fomenting of U-2 spy plane incidents. The objective was to generate public outrage and provide the US government with domestic and international justification for military action against Fidel Castro's regime, aiming to overthrow it. President John F. Kennedy ultimately rejected the plan, and it was never implemented. The existence of Operation Northwoods became publicly known in the 1990s, when related documents were declassified. Analysis. Geopolitical context and Cold War dynamics. Operation Northwoods must be understood within the intense geopolitical rivalry of the Cold War era, particularly the US fear of Soviet influence in the Western Hemisphere following the Cuban Revolution of 1959 and the subsequent alignment of Cuba with the Soviet Union. The plan reflects the lengths to which US military and intelligence agencies were prepared to go in countering perceived communist threats. Military and ethical considerations. The proposal illuminates the Cold War military mindset, showcasing a readiness to engage in deceptive and aggressive tactics to achieve strategic objectives. However, it also raises profound ethical questions regarding state-sponsored terrorism, the manipulation of public opinion, and the moral responsibilities of military and political leaders. The rejection of the plan by President Kennedy may be seen as a crucial decision that averted potentially catastrophic consequences and preserved certain ethical standards in US foreign policy. Intelligence and national security implications. Operation Northwoods underscores the pivotal role of intelligence agencies in Cold War strategy, including their involvement in planning covert operations against adversarial states. The proposal's consideration highlights the challenges of balancing national security interests with legal and ethical constraints and the risks associated with intelligence operations that could potentially mislead public opinion and international allies. Political science perspective. From a US foreign policy standpoint, Operation Northwoods exemplifies the complexities of decision-making processes within the US government during crises. It illustrates the influence of military advice on presidential decisions and the checks and balances that can sometimes prevent the execution of controversial military actions. Moral and ethical evaluation. Ethically, Operation Northwoods represents a controversial chapter in US history, raising questions about the justifiability of using deceit and violence for political ends. It challenges the principles of just war theory, which emphasizes the importance of just cause, proportionality, and non-combatant immunity, suggesting a significant departure from these ethical guidelines. Investigative journalism role. The eventual declassification of Operation Northwoods documents and their exposure by journalists underscores the critical role of the press in uncovering government actions that may conflict with democratic values and ethical standards. Investigative reporting serves as a vital mechanism for holding governments accountable and ensuring transparency. Operation Northwoods remains a stark reminder of the Cold War era's dark possibilities, where the escalation of geopolitical tensions could lead to proposals for extreme actions. It serves as a case study in the ethical, political, and security dilemmas that can arise in times of national and international crisis. In conclusion, Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation during the Cold War, designed to manipulate public opinion and justify military action against Cuba. While it was never implemented, its very existence serves as a chilling reminder of the lengths to which those in power may go to achieve their objectives. It stands as a stark reminder of the importance of transparency, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. Final thoughts. Operation Northwoods serves as a stark reminder of the extreme strategies considered during heightened geopolitical tensions, posing critical questions about the ethics of warfare and intelligence operations. What are the moral implications of government-sanctioned false flag operations in the context of national security? How does the revelation of Operation Northwoods impact your understanding of governmental checks and balances during crises? As we conclude our exploration of Operation Northwoods, we're left to ponder the fragile balance between national security and ethical governance. This episode from history challenges us to question how far is too far in the pursuit of political objectives. Share your thoughts on this complex intersection of morality, politics, and military strategy in the comments below. For more deep dives into the hidden corridors of history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching Top Thangs.